Hello, friends. Hello, family. Good to see you. Man, I wonder what all has gone on in each of your lives in the last, I don't know, 4 weeks plus. I wish I could hear. I have talked to so many of you, and that has been wonderful. Just fantastic to have fellowship. Well, hello. Just a quick reminder. If you go to, I don't know how you get to this video. If but here you go. If you go to my YouTube channel, like if you search on YouTube, Jamie Van Bibber, and that's how you get to me, it'll bring you to the home screen. And at the top of that page, so it has home, which is highlighted, and then videos, and then playlists. If you click on videos, that's where you really get just like a list of the things that I've done, the videos I've put up. So in case you missed one and want to go back and see, that's where you'll get them all. If you look on playlists, there's hardly anything. And if you look on home, they just kind of randomly pick some. So, okay, click on videos. I have had an incredibly eventful last 4 to 6 weeks, however long that has been. I just feel so grateful and amazed, and would love to tell you about it. So I think I knew last time and told you that Craig and I were going to be meeting Hannah and Ben in Houston for the Houston Ballet. I think I told you I was going. So we went, and I just can't believe it. Yes, and if I hadn't gotten COVID, I wouldn't have been able to go because it was, a huge auditorium, and I wasn't supposed to be able to do that until a year. Well, we went, and it was an experience that was so suited to my longings and my needs. It just blew my mind. And I think it was true for Hannah and Craig too. Ben didn't get to go with us on the Thursday night we went, but he and Hannah went on the Saturday night. We had to leave Saturday. So anyway, I think, it was great for all of us. But our dear friend Laura Childers, who married Kyle, I'm sorry, I forget his last name, Kyle. Kyle wrote the symphony, and his best friend, I only can remember his last name now. Silas Farley wrote the choreography. And it was like, okay, and it was on the Four Loves, written by C.S. Lewis. So this is what I want to start by telling y'all about, just the experience of the Four Loves. It was the Four Loves that C.S. Lewis talks about in his book are, oh my gosh, I'm gonna not remember the first one is a family love. I can't remember the Greek or whatever, Latin. And then phileo, which is friendship, eros, which is romantic, and agape, which is this divine, unconditional, self-giving love. So at the ballet, they choreographed 4 movements with focusing on each of those. But the ballet started with sort of a little prelude. The curtains opened and there were 3 dancers on the stage, like already in movement. And they were just in skin-toned, they looked like they were in their skin. And they were like the Trinity. And the Trinity is so, I think, okay, Richard Rohr talks about this in his book. I don't know where he got the idea, but Falling Upward is a book a friend recommended to me just in the last month. And he talked about so the eternal dance of the Trinity is a concept called the perichoresis, choresis. And so they showed it by starting out showing this sort of eternal movement that has been going on, this eternal sharing of the flow of love amongst the Father, Son, and Holy Spirit. And so then they went to the familial love, which was a mother and a daughter, and then the friendship love, which was a friendship between 2 men, and they based it on their own friendship, Kyle's and Silas's. And then the third piece was a man and a woman, and a pas de deux. Is that how you say it? And it was so beautiful. And then the last one was the agape love, and it was just so epic. And they represented Jesus in it also, and kind of did like a cross scene, and then a resurrection, and then this sort of resurrection of all the dancers. It was so spiritual and so beautiful and so transcendent. You know, it was a transcendent experience. And I just felt like it was such a kind gift from the Father. And it felt like sort of a coming out, you know, like I was like a debutante coming out, because I came out into public. So afterwards we went to dinner with the choreographer Silas and the symphony, what do you call that, creator, Kyle, and Laura, and Silas's wife, and all of their family. We went to dinner with them, and it was just the whole night. And Craig, Hannah, and I stayed in a gorgeous hotel right across the street from the theater in downtown Houston. It was all just like, there is life again, you know, like real capital L life. So, man, if any of you just, can get tickets to a concert or a symphony or a ballet, it's so life-giving. I feel like, I want to go see concerts now, all the time. But I don't know. I think I might have told y'all that in the last video, because we had seen a concert. So anyway, that was just so incredible. And then, I'm not sure all this is in order, but then just last week, maybe, I went to see my transplant specialist, Dr. Vance, who was the one we saw all the time when we were in Dallas, getting the transplant for 3 months. I hadn't seen him in 9 months, and he was very encouraged just, you know, all positive about my progress and my numbers. And we weren't looking at like PET scan or anything like that. And so it was really fun because that day, he always comes on a Friday once a month. And it was kind of like my year appointment, even though it hadn't quite been a year. But I knew I was coming up on my 1-year anniversary. And so I went and got these boxes of these really special cupcakes in town. They're called small cakes. Y'all might have them in your town. And I wrote some really special cards for each department at Texas Oncology, because most of the care we've had has been here in Longview at Texas Oncology. And then when we actually went for the transplant, it was at Medical City in Dallas, where there's a branch of Texas Oncology, and Dr. Vance and his team were there. So we were able to give Dr. Vance a card for his team, and then all the labs, the reception area, where they are so giving, and they love us. They just like make us feel like we are so important when we walk in the door. And the infusion room, and then Dr. John and his staff. And it just felt so good to finally thank them all in a tangible way. And it was just amazing how small a gift it was. And yet they were all so like, what? Oh, you know, you could tell they're just like going down their halls in the routine, and always giving. And to be stopped and have these cupcakes that they were all so excited about, and the cards, they were just like, thank you, oh my gosh, thank you, really? You know, like it was so amazing. It's such a neat experience. And so I had felt like, if I don't ever tangibly let them know beyond my words of thank you so much for how you've cared for us, if I don't do something, I'm gonna go to my grave with regret. And so now I don't have to go to my grave with regret. So that was just really special. And I was going to go and ring the bell, and I forgot, because they don't, at the transplant place in the hospital, when you leave the hospital, they don't have you ring the bell. And then you just go for your follow-up appointments that are kind of tracking you for about 3 weeks. And there's never a ring the bell ceremony. And so they had said I could go and ring the bell, and I forgot. I was excited, but I felt like it would be like a closure, you know? But I consider myself wrong. And I do feel closure. Giving those gifts and then seeing Dr. Vance for like the 1 year was like closure. And the one thing that he said I get to do now is I get to, this may not sound very exciting, but start getting all my vaccinations. You know, I lost my childhood vaccinations and any other vaccinations I had had, like the, what's it called? What's the thing you can get that are like chicken pox when you're our age? No, when you're in your 20s, you can get it too. Oh my gosh, I've just lost the word, but you all know, right? I had gotten that vaccination. Anyway, I lost all my vaccinations when they killed my immune system. And so I thought it was going to be like over a year or something. But he was like, no, there were like 5 I'll get in one day. And then 2 months later, I'll get maybe 5 more or something, 3 more. And they're all dead viruses, and except I won't get to get measles, mumps, and rubella vaccination because it's a live one. So I just hope I never get measles, mumps, or rubella. Doesn't sound fun. But I feel like when I get my vaccinations, I'll be all the more suited for normal living, even though right now I'm just kind of trusting God and going out in public places anyway. So, my hair, you can't tell probably, it's kind of like gelled, but it is longer, and it like started, it kind of turned a corner of like, oh gosh, I'm gonna have to style this hair. I got so excited. So it feels like my hair, I wish it was longer, but it's growing out in time, in pacing. Not exactly, but with my feeling more and more normal. So I am feeling good in the mornings, y'all. Oh my gosh. Oh my gosh. I haven't taken a morning nap in definitely since I last talked to y'all. You know, I don't know, 2 months. I don't know, but it's so amazing. And did I tell y'all I've started drinking coffee again? And that has been just really fun and a wonderful gift because it's helping me get back into a routine of get my coffee, come sit down with my Bible, and this other practice that I do. I have started committing to it again. It's called Morning Pages, and I think I've talked about it before in the past. But anyway, it feels so good to have a rhythm to wake up to in the morning. It feels so nurturing and therapeutic and really good. Speaking of therapy, I have started going back to scleroderma memories in counseling, and it has been so hard. So the last, I've only done it twice, and it's like very, anyway. I went to Baton Rouge again since I last saw y'all. No, I had taken a trip then, but I took another one, this time with my sisters, all to converge on Baton Rouge to see Mom, and for us sisters to all gather around Mom and to be together. And I did one of those counseling times the day before I left. And for the first time at counseling, I couldn't get on the road right after. I have, an hour drive back home. And I was just too exhausted and mentally and emotionally spent. So I had to sit for a little while there in my car. And they have a pool out there, and it was a beautiful day. And I went and sat out by the pool and wrote in my journal just a few things for like 10 minutes. And then I was able to get in my car and go home. But I ended up getting a migraine, and which made a lot of sense. But it was kind of a bummer because, oh man, maybe I should cancel my appointment. Sorry. Just remembering I had headaches for like 4 or 5 days, the whole time in Baton Rouge with my mom and sisters, I had periodic headaches. I could get them to go down or go away. I was doing Advil and water and all kinds of stuff. But man, I'm about to go to counseling tomorrow, and then the next day, this is another thing I wanted to tell y'all. Craig and I are going to Austin to meet Hannah and Ben. They're going to be there for work. And this week is the 1-year anniversary of my transplant and my dad dying. So Dad died on the 17th of October, and my transplant was on the 18th of October. And that is still so shocking for me to say. So I may need to cancel my counseling appointment. That is the day before we leave for Austin. Forgot about those headaches. Okay, I should call them soon. Anyway, what was I going to tell you about that? Austin. No, Baton Rouge trip. Okay, so we knew, okay, it just kind of turned out that Lori could make it early October. And so we all decided to go to Baton Rouge and see each other. And we realized it was going to be less than 2 weeks before the anniversary of Dad's death, his homegoing, his death on this planet, and his homegoing to be with Jesus and the Father and the Spirit. And so we didn't want to put any pressure that we would do anything special, specific for it. But if something naturally happened, it would. And it was nice that it wasn't on the anniversary, so we didn't feel pressure. But what we did was work on Mom's room that she's been turning into her space, where she can do work at her new antique desk, and she can sit in her new big comfortable chair and read and pray. And she has a TV in there now, connected up on the wall, and beautiful. It's just so peaceful the way she's decorated over time with the help of some of us. And so we were in there, like having just hung the last things on the walls, and we were just enjoying the beauty of the room. And Mom said, it's amazing to think of 1 year ago in this room. And it was the room where, when they brought a hospice bed, hospice brought a hospital bed to the house for Dad. When he went down real fast, this quick, you call them and they bring it within an hour. They were so amazing. They brought a hospital bed and put it in that room. It had kind of been Dad's room. He had a computer in there. He and Mom both used it, but he used it a lot. And he had his exercise equipment in there and some of his favorite pictures and stuff like that. So that's why they decided, I think, to put the bed in there. So he had died in that room, and I won't give the specifics for privacy's sake, but we ended up just talking about that week, and including the fact that I was in the hospital, and talking about that. And it was very healing, I think, I assume for everybody. It sure was for me. And it was good to be in that room with them and talk about it, because they had all been in that room together and I was there on FaceTime, and now I was with them in the flesh. And it was very, very redemptive and very healing. And we definitely cried, and we did lots of hugging. And then we went into the den and we got our food and we got cozy in the den, and we watched Mom and Dad's 50th anniversary video, which was so beautiful, and so hilarious, and fantastic speeches and everybody, and then dancing, and it was just, we had so much fun watching that. And let's see, I don't think it was the same night, but yes, it was. I think it was the same night. Well, that day, we know how to cram stuff in. That whole day, we had scrubbed Mom's lanai. Do you know what that is? It's an outdoor screened-in area. So they had like a courtyard sort of thing, and they had at one point screened it all in, and it has tile floor. It's like a second, it's more square footage, and it's outdoor, and you don't have bugs, but it was dusty, and it just, had accumulated some junk, plant pots that didn't belong there anymore, and blah, 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 blah. We all sweat. It took 5 of us for like hours, and it was sparkling. It was so beautiful. And Jill had been in Mom's new room finishing up hanging stuff, and then I had gone in and helped her finish, and so that's when we had ended up in Mom's new room, which had been Dad's room. And then we had watched the video, and then Lisa and I were staying at Jill's. So Jill, Lisa, and I left around 9 o'clock, and we went home to Jill's, and Kenny had set up, and we knew this, and he was ready for us to do karaoke, and we did karaoke till 2 in the morning. And if you've never done karaoke, don't diss it, because I used to think, that is so lame-o. Like, why do people do that? But as it turns out, it is like such a cool way to connect with people in a whole new way. Instead of sitting around watching sports, which I absolutely adore, because we connect big time. We're like, yeah, no, and we just have this passionate connection of love for our team, LSU and the Saints. But this is a whole new way where you make yourself vulnerable to those that you love. You dare to sing a song by yourself, or as a duet with someone, which would be fun. I haven't done that yet. But I felt so like they are singing in front of me. They are like putting themselves out there. They are really trying to sing these songs. And it makes me love them all the more. And we all encouraged each other, and like, when they really got in their wheelhouse, we'd say that to each other, and they said it to me, and I felt so vulnerable singing, but they were like, oh, that was great. You could tell maybe it was just not that great, but then that is so your type of song. You have got to sing that kind of song, and so anyway, it's really special and fun. And So that was big time. And it really felt like we were celebrating the 1-year anniversary of everything without pressure. And it was wonderful. So this week is actually the 1-year anniversary. So Thursday, we will leave and go and meet Hannah and Ben in Austin. And Thursday night, we will remember Granddad. And Friday night, we're going to celebrate my transplant birthday. They call it a birthday in the transplant world. And then next week, I will be going by myself to visit the Yepishins, Sarah and Sergey and the kids. I was supposed to go last week, but they were sick. So I postponed for 2 weeks to give them time to get well. So I'm going to be flying again, and that'll feel so good. This time I won't be on a crutch. When we went in March, it felt so incredible that the doctor gave me permission to fly when I could hardly, go to church. I had started going to church, I think, and had to sit up on the platform, So that was so weird. They let me do that. But I guess because you wear masks through the airport, and then the airplane is supposedly the cleanest air anywhere. Did you know that? It's like changing out every 6 seconds or something. Anyway, but I was still on a crutch, and I had to get pushed through the airport in a wheelchair, and it felt so backwards, like moving backwards, because I had to be in a wheelchair when I had scleroderma. And I didn't have scleroderma anymore, and I was like, I'm not like that anymore. I used to walk 2 miles, but I had to be in a wheelchair going through the airport. But this time, I won't. I'm going to figure out everything by myself because my brain works now, and it's really great. I just feel so grateful. So I think that's everything, guys. I don't know what else. I think I covered everything on this sheet. And oh wait, I forgot to write it down. I just wanted to say how okay, I wanted to say that I'm just continuing to thaw out in my relationship with God and find Him tearing down my wall. Yeah. I realized that I used to feel like there was a big wall and He was throwing over little care packages. But the wall doesn't feel like it's all the way down, but it's like waist high, so we can see each other really well. So Craig did a sermon yesterday that was so amazing. And it was, what's amazing is Jesus. And it made me feel His love. But it's where Jesus was, He had turned south, Craig said. And he meant He was going south to Jerusalem, and He knew what He was going to face there. And so He was very busy. And definitely, it wasn't the first time he was in the garden crying out to God and sweating drops of blood. The level of intense stress he was under, that wasn't the first time he had thought about those things. Obviously, he knew about it before, and he had been thinking about it. And so he's turned south to face his death. And everybody wants to see him, all these crowds and everything. And so the disciples they're like, no, get those kids out of here, get those children away, when some people were trying to bring their kids up. And it says Jesus was indignant with them. And he took time for the children. He said, we all know this phrase, don't we? Even if you're not a believer, have you heard this? Let the little children come to me. And he said, it says, he took them in his arms and blessed them and put his hands on them. I think that was like a blessing thing. But he took them in his arms. He said, let them come. He was indignant. And he took the time to be with children. And then a little bit later, just several verses later, they ask him something, I think, and he says children to his disciples. He called them children. And so Craig said it was like him saying, children, you're in. Don't worry, because they were asking. It seems impossible for anybody to enter the kingdom of God. And he said, children, which is like, you're in. Don't worry. And all things are possible with God, he said. So that is really where I'm trying to remain. Jesus said, abide in me, or remain in me. And I so want to remain in him, in this relationship where he has come to me. He has allowed himself to be brought low so that I could come to him. And I'm just asking, I'm still asking, and knowing he's hearing me, and knowing he is moving me and he's moving himself toward me. But I want to remain in him. He is life. And no matter how great a ballet is, or anything, any of these other things, you're probably all enjoying the fall, right? Autumn. It was 96 here yesterday. A strange peak of heat before we're going to get our coolest temperatures yet. But anyway, the pumpkins and everything, it's all so wonderful, and it truly is. And it lingers if it's with the true life, the capital L, Jesus and God. I just want to be restful in his presence. And that's what I keep seeking. And I know he's seeking me, thank God. So I hope you are experiencing God and experiencing beauty in this world, and falling upward, whatever that means, and finding Rembrandt in the wind. Sorry, I was supposed to talk about this book too. This book brought me great joy in the last weeks. So if you want to check it out, it's about artists. And it brings out the most incredibly deep and profound, beautiful truths about us and about God and about life. Oh, so amazing. So I love you all. I hope you're doing well, even if it's in suffering, that you know that God is still on his throne and that he is still inviting you onto his lap. Okay, bye.